Hey folks, Levi here once again. Welcome back to another video. Hope you enjoyed my snack video. Levi tries the gingerbread Pop-Tarts, Kellogg's gingerbread Pop-Tarts. I hope you enjoyed that video. And welcome back to another superhero review. Flash forward, and I reviewed that last, so I hope you enjoyed my review of that. And today I'll bring you another superhero review that continuing with the 80s era of superhero movies. And next I'm reviewing the 1982 superhero horror movie that is actually directed by Wes Craven, and that is Swamp Thing. This is my first time watching this. No, I don't own it on DVD. I just watched it on Prime Video. I rented it on there, so hopefully I can rent more superhero movies if I have to watch to review. But Swamp Thing, this film was alright. It wasn't horrible. I wouldn't say it's like one of the worst. No. It's just meh. It was alright. It's okay. But honestly, I've never been a fan of the character of Swamp Thing. I just always thought he was boring of a character, not that interesting. Yeah, he portrays the green in the swamp, okay, Swamp Thing. Honestly, the Thing from Fantastic Four is a better character, in my opinion. And of course, he is a DC character, yes. Because we had Superman the movie before this, which I still say is better. And then a couple of years later, you have Batman '89. Yeah. Like I said, Swamp Thing, he's a humanoid plant and a woman-like creature. He has several humanoid monster incarnations and various different storylines. The character is a swamp monster that resembles an orthotic mound of vegetable matter and fights to protect his swamp home, the environment in general, and humanity from various supernatural or terrorist threats. I don't know too much about the comics, but I know he's teamed up with other superheroes with other DC heroes. I think he's teamed up with Batman. And he was in Justice League Dark, I think the animated movie too. James Gunn is a fan of if y'all remember James Gunn, who was taking care of DC now, I think he plans to do a Swamp Thing movie, as he said. I believe James Gunn said he was a fan of Swamp Thing, the character, so he plans on doing, so probably get another movie one day from him. The character in the movie is Alec Holland, and of course, Swamp Thing has an enemy named Antic Arcane. The movie's production, filming occurred at permanent location in Cypress Gardens, Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Wes Craven was very proud in delivering the film on a budget at $2.5 million, and he did a pretty good job directing. I just didn't really think this movie was amazing or anything. The writing of the film, Wes Craven referenced Werner Harmer's 1974 film, The Enigma of Capital Hauser, which was originally called Every Man for Himself and God Against All. Another mercenary says the lines to the character named Bruno. And Enigma, the lead character, was played by Bruno Sluss, credited as Bruno. Swamp Thing was released on VHS, Laserdisc, DVD, and Blu-ray. And obviously, it got mixed to positive reviews from critics. Roger Ebert gave the film 3 out of 5 stars. And again, it was directed by Wes Craven. This was way before, people know him, Wes Craven is a horror director. After this, he would go on to direct A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. Also directs Scream. I think The Hills Have Eyes. He's done, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And of course the Scream films. And Red Eye, which I like that movie, starring Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams. I like that film. Pretty underrated. Vampire Brooklyn, which I think starred Eddie Murphy. Never seen it. But he did pass away of brain tumor back in 2015. But he was a good director, And it's also written by him It's based on Swamp Thing created by Len Wein and Bernard Rhinestone, I guess, who created the character. Benjamin Munkley, it's produced by Benjamin Munkley and Michael E. Wislin, who, of course, was known for bringing Tim Burton's Batman to life. Thanks to him, we got that movie. He co-produced the sequel as well, The Return of Swamp Thing. Also worked on Batman animated series and the Batman TV series. And his cinematography is by Robbie Greenberg. It's edited by Richard Bragan. Music is by Harry Mufflin. It's Technicolor. It was released February 19th, 1982. It's 91 minutes long, and the uncut version is 93 minutes. For the cast, you have Ray Wise as Alec Holland, like the main character, scientist who becomes Swamp Thing. But Ray Wise, you should probably remember him from RoboCop. Yeah, and Jeepers Creepers, I've never seen that movie. Jeepers Creepers 2, I've never seen it, but yeah, he's on episode. But mostly, people should remember him from RoboCop, as Leon. I got him, Clarence! I got him! Sorry, just had to hit that for a second. But he's a really good actor. Adriana Barbera as Alice Cable, a female version of Matt Cable, in place as Swamp Thing's love interest. Of course, she's worked with John Carpenter before. She was in The Fog, Escape from New York, and she also voiced Catwoman. I know her as the voice of Catwoman from Batman, as Selina Kyle from Batman the Animated Series. Oh, too bad. But yeah. And Louis Jordan as Ansel King, the villain. I don't remember him too much, but I do remember him as the main Bond villain in Octopussy, the James Bond movie Octopussy. Yeah. Duke Durock as Swamp Thing. He also returned for the sequel, I think. David Hess as Ferret. Nicholas Worth as Bruno. Okay, yeah, he was in Darkman too. Okay. Yeah, because he didn't know the Superman already died, but he was in Darkman, yeah. Yeah, he played the guy that Darkman, I think it's like the first bad guy in the movie that he wears a mask on. But anyway, this ain't about Darkman. Don Knight as Harry Ritter, Al Rogan as Charlie, Nathaniel Brown as Dr. Linda Holland, Richie Betts as Judd, Karen Price as Karen. Alright. And the plot synopsis of the movie, what's it about, is that the story it tells the story of scientist Alec Holland, Ray Wise, who becomes transformed into the monster known as Swamp Thing through laboratory sabotage orchestrated by the evil Antic Arcane, who basically wants this formula for himself to become like immortal. Later he helps a woman named Alice Cable and battles the man responsible for it all, the ruthless Arcane. And that plot for you a little bit there, synopsis. The movie does have some nice opening credits. Decent music, You even have Alice Cable who arrives at the swamps. The scientists that work there. She's not a big fan of the swamps. Thinks they're dirty and nasty. I do like it when she says, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. Then you have these men sneaking over to, like these other guys that are working for Arcane. they kidnap this guy or whatever. Well, this guy like searches around. They see him, they capture him. Even though the guy just runs, but he's running in a swamp. He's running in water. He can't run that fast. And now, one thing I don't get is why they just don't shoot him. I guess they didn't want to get surprises, but surprisingly, doesn't get for it. They attack him, tackle him down, and, main bad guy picks up a snake and gets the snake to bite him. You say he dies. Alice ends up arriving. She knows one of the team sensors gets malfunctioned. She meets Harry Ritter, who reveals that the princess was sent to repair, but he was killed. Charlie tells Ritter a rumor about, the leader named Arcane, but people believe that Arcane is dead. Alice ends up meeting Dr. Linda Holland and her brother, lead scientist, Alec Holland. Of course, she thinks this one's resisting. There's, bits of banter between them and humor. She takes him out to the swamps. He takes her out to the swamps just to look at it, to admire the beauty of it, what the place looks like. They return, Cable and Alec return, and, Ritter gets on them, where you been? I'm going to fire you next time. Don't be out here on a plane if you do that again. Don't leave you go missing. Even though Alec tries to defend her, they kind of just somewhat laugh about it, and they hear this explosion. Dr. Linda said that, his sister Linda says she got a breakthrough, a glowing plant that's based with explosive properties. Linda's formula responds to rapid plant growth on the surfaces that they touch. Suddenly, a group of these military agents attack her, and they raid Alec's laboratory. First, Cable, Alice, she's going to go get Ritter, just to get his attention so that they've had this breakthrough with the formula. She's trying to call for him, and she knows that something's going on. She gets attacked by this guy, but she hits him in the head with something, like this option. And then, when he gets her attacked, she jumps into the ground and punches him and shoots him. I don't know why they call her damsel in distress. I'm sure Bowman's character, she seems like she can just handle herself. Most of this movie, she can just handle herself, Swamp Thing just comes in to help her once in a bit, It seems like, this woman can handle herself. I didn't really see her as a damsel, but that's just me. Or like in the sequel with Heather Locklear, who was, more like a dumb blonde. No. Ritter comes up. But he's like, as you thought, and he takes his mask over to his Mission Impossible when it's Arcane. They try to get the formula from her. Arcane shoots Linda, but Linda, all these men have guns, including Arcane himself. She just tries to run out of there, and they shoot her. I'm like, and then you look up. Ray Wise, for his short time in this movie, he does a good job. And when his sister dies, you feel his emotion, of his crying. But it was still pretty dumb of her just to run when they, all the men had guns, I don't think you can really outrun a bullet, to be honest, Alec grabs the beaker, trips over it, it causes, it will spill, it sets him on fire, he's just running on fire, But this is like comic books, so he runs on the fire, he runs outside and dives into the swamp, I guess to get rid of the flames. But I guess you say this is what turns him into Swamp Thing, because, he's like blowing up as like fireworks in the water. Overnight, the Arcane's henchmen destroy the premises. They do knock out, Andrea Barmana, Cable, but she escapes. She gets the notebook. The notebook is the one that gives them for the formula, so she hides it there. She tries to go back for a sneak around, but Alec gets captured by the henchmen, and they try to drown her in the swamp. But Swamp Thing just shows up, grabs the gun and throws him in the water. And of course, she's scared of it. She thinks Swamp Thing's a danger to her. Arcane, has this mansion that he lives in. Notices that, the notebook is missing. And since he wants to go back to get the formula, Alice ends up, getting away though from Swamp Thing. And the men face Swamp Thing saving her, which of course is Alec. Alice runs to a gas station to a telephone to get her employees for help. She tries to contact Ritter, but she contacts Ritter, Arcane actually, who she thinks, of course because he's imitating Ritter, because she thinks that, Ritter's still alive, but Ritter was actually really, I guess, not real the whole time. But she calls Arcane, he presents with the voice of Ritter, says, "Where are you at?" She tells her what happened, and then he comes over, and then when she notices the men there, she tries to shoot him with this gun, because you have this kid named Judd, I think. And he's like, "Of course we have a gun." Judd was and I don't like kids in superhero movies because they can be really annoying or bad, but Judd was actually a pretty likable kid. Pretty funny at times too, had a good sense of humor. She tries to shoot the bad guy, shoot at them, but the gun blows. I'm like, in a weird, edit scene. And these guys are horrible shots. I mean, they got their rushing machine guns that she runs. Yeah, Judd, that's the kid's name. Swamp Thing appears again. He scares the pursuers. He just kind of picks one guy up, throws him, and she just runs Swamp Thing, and she doesn't know why Swamp Thing's like. The makeup stuff is really good, though. You can see some of in the costume. It's just an outfit. Some of it looks like it's been patched out, but again, it's the '80s too. She's like, "Go away," and Swamp Thing does walk away. So Alice, meets up with Judd. They get a boat, swim around the swamp. They reach the laboratory wreckage. Swamp Thing himself, you hear him screaming in pain, and him return to this, of course, Alec, well now Swamp Thing returns to the laboratory, that explosion, gets this locket, that has a picture of him and his sister. You see some tears in his eyes, and just trying to see if he can maybe create a formula to create himself back to being himself, and he just gets mad. But Alice grabs the notebook. Arcane realizes that that Arcane might be actually the monster himself. What he wants to do is, to lure Swamp Thing out, is to get Alice, so he can get his, I guess, his blood in his veins, the DNA or whatever, a sample from him. Then the Arcane's man closes in on Alice and Judd and the creature from Hiding Place. Swamp Thing, does knock one guy down. Swamp Thing tries to jump on the boat, but they take off on the boat and Swamp Thing, falls back. Pretty entertaining action scene, decent. They try to ram or go at Swamp Thing, but Swamp Thing moves and they end up wrecking. And good practical explosion too, by the way. Swamp Thing jumps on a boat, crashes on another boat. Decent action scene. She tries to escape without his notebook. She hears him crying in distress. But you can assume that Judd is probably dead, nearly, or gets killed. But she gets kidnapped before she can reply. Swamp Thing finds him. Presses his hand against it. He's got green part of his body or whatever, grass. Touches him and heals him. And he gives, him the notebook for safekeeping. Fear, that's the man later. Alice, he shows her Floyd. Alice even, gives her a kiss, but she, gives him a kick in the nuts and pushes him in the water. And she just jumps. You know, he's got like a machete trying to kill her. Ferret chops off Swamp Thing's arm, tries to fight him, but Swamp Thing, he grabs his head. He's Swamp Thing snaps his neck and kills Ferret. The man, Bruno's like, "What are you gonna chain up there?" Louis is like, Louis Jordan Arcane's like, "No, let's go." He just does not care. Doesn't care about him. He just wants to go. Alice ends up fainting. She awakens in the monster's embrace. She realizes that Swamp Thing speaks to her. She realizes Alec. There's a little bit of a touching moment there. Arcane's men follow her. They capture Swamp Thing in the net because he throws the notebook away. They get the notebook. Arcane invites Alice to a dinner party, selling his, Apollin's formula. He tests it out on, announced to Bruno, and Bruno begins to, becomes like a little midget, monster. Arcane locks him in a dungeon with a Swamp Thing, and he asks Swamp Thing, why the experiment failed, how can I, he's like, it's not that simple, Swamp Thing just either refuses to help him or won't help him, tell him about his formula, even though he's got him in chains. Arcane returns to his study, walks around his place for a little bit, has a bit of a drink, and just, turns too much himself, but Alice ends up getting out of her chains. Thanks to the help of Bruno, who turns against his boss, and, gets Swamp Thing, and they get ready to get out of there. Swamp Thing's Storm goes back. Sorry, I kind of fell asleep during that part. Not because of the movie, just working and stuff today. Get a little tired. Well, hope you guys can see me just alright. He transforms into a hairy boy-like beast. He ends up swimming into the swamp himself. He's got like the face of a warhog, like Sight Mist for the pig monster. And him and Swamp Thing, he follows as he's like picking up Alice, like you see in the poster. Puts her on the ground, and she's like, Alec, and he fights with. It's a decent fight, He's got, him as the, Arcane as this monster, who's transformed into this monster. Is fighting Swamp Thing with a sword. He stabs, Alice in the heart with a knife. There was one scene where you kind of do see her little nude, where I forgot to mention, where she's like bathing for a little bit in the water. Okay. But, Arcane's still alive with this monster. Swamp Thing attacks him and he usually kills Arcane, because Arcane pretty much, he's in the sequel, so he didn't really die. But, Swamp Thing just, you don't see it, but stabs him, with a sword. And Alice says that she can help him do his work, but he refuses, promises that he'll see her soon, saying that his life is like this now that he's this creature. They watch the Swamp Thing lumber away through the march, and then the end credits roll. Like I said, Swamp Thing, this was an okay movie. It's decent. I would say maybe a decent time waster at best. Now, I'll get into what I liked about it first. I do like the cast. I do think Ray-wise, Adriana Beaumont, she's probably my favorite character in this movie. She's really good. And Dick Durock as Swamp Thing, he was good. Louis Jordan, I think he did a great job as the villain. A lot better here than he was in Octopussy, which came out the year after. I just didn't think he was a very good villain in Octopussy. But the budget for the movie is $2.5 million, and I will admit the cinematography, the way the swamp looks, the movie does look nice. Swamp Thing still does, it's got a few cares in it, but the makeup and stuff looks really good for Swamp Thing. The action, when it's there, it's there, but I felt like you don't really get enough of Swamp Thing in this movie. Just, he's here and there to save Andre. It's terrible. Just Swamp Thing, excuse me, coughing. Yeah. Sorry about my coughing, but Swamp Thing, he's just there to kind of save her once in a while. So Swamp Thing, doesn't really do a whole lot in this movie. Easy if you've seen some of him. He tries to have an emotional attachment, but I just didn't really buy the number history. I mean, he kisses Alice, kisses Alice like for the first time over excitement, but I really didn't feel any chemistry between them that much. I mean, I can see it building, but it's just not enough. It's a very short movie too, 91 minutes. It's like 1 hour and 31 minutes. You need maybe, could have been 1 hour 40 or 150, a little longer. I think this one could have been a little bit longer. I think it's too short. I don't think the story's that interesting. That's my main problem with it. And Swamp Thing himself in this movie, he's just not very interesting. I mean, the action is decent, but he either gets shot at or falls or tumbles or just picks a guy up. Yeah. So, the action it's there, it's decent. It's just not, I'm getting excited. Yeah, Swamp Thing, First time he shows up, he jumps off a guy, throws a guy off a boat, just pays those, yeah, how exciting. I'm like, show me a little bit more better. I'm like, But Swamp Thing himself, it's just not an interesting character. I do like the sequel part more. I will review the sequel. But that's because the sequel, I think, it makes it more entertaining. I like Swamp Thing having a sense of humor. They make this movie dark, and this is very serious, and I think this movie at times is a little boring as well, especially the fight scene, when the ending fight, wasn't really that great or memorable. Andrea Bournemouth, she didn't really need to be a damsel in distress. She didn't feel like it. They mostly felt like she could handle herself in this movie. But Swamp Thing himself in this movie is not interesting. I think Alice Cable was like, Andrea Bournemouth, she was like the best thing about this movie, my favorite character in the film. I like Joe too, the kid was pretty funny. The film does feel a little slow-paced at times, but the origin was not that interesting. You could have spent a lot more time, I think, with Ray Wise, with Alec Holland, in order for me to care a little more. I could feel a little sorry that his sister died. That was very sad, but I wanted to spend time knowing the character a little more. I'm not saying a whole life story, but a little more, instead of like maybe 15 or 20 minutes of screen time he gets, I think. Not very much screen time. Swamp Thing himself, doesn't get a whole lot of screen time, And the action is just very lackluster at times too. It's decent. I do like him killing the gay guy ferret and breaking his neck. That's pretty intense. But the action is decent. This film is it's okay. It's there. It's not a movie I go back to and rewatch over and over again. I'll be right back. I gotta pull this phone up. This Swamp Thing, yeah. This film is it's okay. The story isn't interesting itself. I think Wes Craven did a good job directing and getting the film done. But I say even in Nightmare on Elm Street or Scream are better movies. The first Scream, a lot better movies than this, just better story. It doesn't really feel like a horror movie to me. I didn't find it scary at all. It felt like more of a superhero, romantic kind of story. I don't know what we call it horror. It wasn't scary, Yeah, but Swamp Thing himself is just not an interesting character. He's just very boring to me. Not really interested in the hero that, lives in the swamp and protects the Swamp Thing. Yeah, pretty lame name in my opinion, but this film was just alright. It was okay. It's a decent time waster. Honestly, it's a film I'd rather watch on TV, but it's not one of the worst Superman. No, it's not like when we got the Superman 4 with Push for Peace. That's terrible. I'd rather watch this over Superman 4 any day. But again, this film is a decent time waster. It's okay. It's just it's an okay film. But anyway, guys, my rating for Swamp Thing, I'm gonna give this 3 out of 5 stars and a so-so. Yeah, it's an alright movie. but not one of my favorite superhero movies. But I do like Andrea Braun in it. You know, she was great. She's my favorite character in this movie. She was fantastic. Really good actress. I liked her in it the most. You know, I think she was the most interesting character in the film, but that's just my opinion. The whole story about what Alec does with regrowth and the plants and stuff is just didn't find it interesting. But overall, I gave my opinion on it finally. So anyway, guys, tell me in the comments down below, have you seen, can't speak, thank you for watching me this fall, you know. Have you seen Swamp Thing? What do you think of that in your opinion? What do you think of this movie in your opinion, Swamp Thing? Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? If you love this movie, you think it's great, cool. But again, my rating for the film is 3 out of 5 stars, and so it's okay. It's just an okay film. Alright. Well, guys, maybe more superhero films coming this weekend. I don't know. I'm not working tomorrow. But my next superhero movie review the next superhero movie review. This is the first, Marvel movie. This is way before the MCU was even made. This is, I guess you could say, the first Marvel movie. And my next superhero movie review is going to be Howard the Duck. Yes. So Howard the Duck is next. Stay tuned for this review. Probably not today. Could be tomorrow. Could be. Yeah. And this was 1986. So yeah, it counts because, let's see, this was 82, something was. 83 was Superman 3, and 1984 was Supergirl the movie, starring Helen Slater. I've already reviewed those on my channel. Those been reviewed. If you look at my channel, I'm doing a playlist for superhero reviews, marathon/videos. My Superman reviews are on there, including the Superman the movie, Superman 2, and the Richard Donner cut. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, Howard the Duck. This is my next superhero review. Hope you look forward to it. Yeah. So Howard the Duck, which is a special edition of the movie. So, yeah. And it's the first Marvel movie too, I believe. So, alright, anyway guys, so Swamp Thing. It's an okay film in my opinion. Let me know, 3 out of 5 stars once again, my rating for it. Let me know in the comments down below what do you think of it, guys. And stay tuned next for probably tomorrow maybe for my next superhero review, that is Howard the Duck. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.